Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever podcast of the Dead Celebs.
Welcome to the Dead Celebs podcast with your hosts, Brent Novak and Tana Satterley.
Check out our sister podcast, Talk Murder to Me. Step into the captivating world of true crime. This podcast offers an entertaining and unique approach to crime storytelling. Talk Murder to Me can be found on any podcast platform, also streaming live Saturdays on YouTube. Got involved with those guys, and hopefully we're gonna do more stuff together. And this is the start, Dead Celebs podcast. And I met Tana on Facebook and said, "Would you be interested in doing a podcast with me?" And she said,
Yes.
Awesome. Tana, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm originally from West Virginia. I'm married and I have a daughter, and I am an actor. So I do a lot of things on the side. I still have a day job. One of my previous day jobs, however, was in radio. I was an afternoon drive personality for about 4 or 5 years, recorded commercials, programmed the music, et cetera, et cetera. But had a lot of fun doing that. And when I found your post about needing a co-host for a podcast, I thought, why not check it out?
Wow,
So here I am.
I'm glad you did, because this is our first show and we don't know when it's going to air. We're going to go over celebrities that died in January of 2023. I'm going to start out with the actor's name is Adam Rich. Adam starred in the 1970s TV show 8 is Enough, and he died at the age of 54.
So young.
Did you ever watch 8 is Enough?
I don't think that I did. I was kind of sheltered as a child. I didn't watch a lot of TV.
Just nothing.
Not a lot.
Okay, so what did you do to pass the time?
Oh, I played outside. I played very well independently. I was a single child for 10 years. And so I just learned to keep myself occupied, actually.
Interesting. Another celebrity we have is Miss Cindy Williams, best known for starring in TV sitcoms Laverne and Shirley with Penny Marshall. Also appeared in movies such as American Graffiti and The Conversation. She died on January 25th at the age of 75. Did you get a chance to watch Laverne and Shirley?
I did. Reruns, of course.
Okay. All right.
But yes, I did watch Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, me too. I mostly saw on reruns too. At least like after school reruns was kind of the thing for me. If you remember Happy Days, and I mean, when I was a kid, we had like 6 channels. So
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Us too.
This is, one that kind of shocked everybody. Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, I know. Very sad. The daughter of Elvis Presley, obviously.
Yeah.
And she had a son that died too, I think. So she just had a tragic life, I think. Her daughter, interestingly enough, Kylie, and I'm not going to pronounce her last name right, Rao, or Reough. Somebody correct me. She recently starred in the series Daisy Jones and the Six, which one thing I found interesting about that was she had to train her voice. She had to learn to sing. Like, she wasn't a natural, like, that wasn't something that she did. She was an actress, but she wasn't a singer. And so for that role, she trained to do that. She's very good at it. But I guess in my mind, thinking, the granddaughter of Elvis Presley, surely she would follow in that vein. But it wasn't until she got this part that she started singing.
Wow. Imagine having a dad like Elvis and you can't sing, right?
And grandfather. Sorry, I was talking about.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Still,
Right.
like,
Exactly.
I guess it's like
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's kids didn't do as well as he did either.
Yeah.
So I guess.
True.
Here's another one. Annie Wershing. She was an actress known for her role on 24, Runaways, Vampire Diaries. We talked obviously a little bit about this last week. January 29th at the age of 45 after a battle with cancer. To bring her up.
Oh,
Very
yes.
pretty young lady.
I think I remember sharing this. The last few weeks before she died, she was still filming. She was on shows like The Rookie with
Oh,
Nathan Fillion.
yep. Good job.
Love that show. And she was literally, I mean, like weeks before she died, she was guest starring on that show. And I believe there was one other show, and I can't think of it at the moment, but she fought till the very end. Bless her heart.
And kept working, which is
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
My
That is crazy.
goodness.
Oh,
Billy Packer. Billy Packer was one of the main voices for college basketball.
okay.
He had such crazy terms like "this is onions" and
Yeah.
died at 82, and didn't
Hmm.
say why. Probably January 25th at the age of 82. Probably just
Hmm.
82 is a good enough reason to
Old
die.
age.
Oh,
Yeah.
old age.
Hmm.
Hopefully, as we do this more and more often, we're going to find more and more odd deaths like Lisa Marie's, where she just didn't
Right.
wake up. And you look at the last couple footage,
Hmm.
the last couple minutes of her life, at that award ceremony, like people are holding on to her, and it's just
Yeah.
maybe that's one we need to look into.
Yeah.
Robbie Bachman. He was a rock drummer and one of the founding members of 1970s hitmaker Bachman Turner Overdrive. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet is one of their, I think it was the most popular song in 1974.
Oh.
And he died on January 12th at the age of 69, so fairly young.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and his brother
Yeah.
was the front man, Randy Bachman, and I believe he's still alive. I think. Here's a very interesting. Sorry, I couldn't get
Oh.
this picture bigger, but she played Wednesday. Lisa Loring. She played Wednesday on the Adams Family. So
The original.
the original Adams Family. She died January 28th, only at the age of 64 after suffering
Hmm.
a stroke. Wow,
Oh,
I
that's really
know.
sad.
It is sad.
Huh.
Way too young, too.
Hmm.
Here is we got just a couple more. Remember, this is only January of 2023. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what else is coming up, going to come up throughout the year. I hope it's not many, but
Hmm.
we all are going to pass. David Crosby, the influential rock singer,
Oh.
songwriter, member of the Byrds, best known for his work
Hmm.
with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Um, and he's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. January 18th, at the age of 81, Crosby had a liver transplant
Hmm.
in 94 after decades of drug use, and survived
Oh.
diabetes, hepatitis C, and heart surgery in the
Oh.
1970s. So another 80s birthday, but still
Yeah.
pretty young.
Sounds like a hard life, though.
Yeah, I
A lot of
know.
health
Yeah,
issues.
right. It looks great in this picture.
Yeah.
Evil Knievel's son, Robbie Knievel, daredevil and stunt rider, son of famed stunt rider Evil Knievel, jumped over the Grand Canyon in 1999. The fountains at Caesar Palace in 1989, and many more, starred in 2005 A&E's TV series Knievel's Wild Ride. Died
Hmm.
January 13th at age 60
Hmm.
after a battle with pancreatic cancer.
Oh, that's
Ouch.
bad. Hmm.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. So there you
Yeah.
have it. There are our dead celebrities for January of 2023.
May they rest in peace.
May they rest in peace. All right, Tana, do you want to get us cooking on some Anna Nicole Smith while I get some pictures lined up?
Oh, I can do that.
All right.
So, Anna Nicole Smith, actually born Vickie Lynn Marshall or Vickie Lynn Hogan. There's some back and forth about that. The documentary that I watched on Netflix says Vickie Lynn Marshall, but a different documentary that I recently watched, The Final 24 on YouTube, says that her last name was Hogan. So I don't know legally how she was born. In the first documentary, they say she was born in Mahia, Texas. But actually, in the second documentary, I learned that she wasn't born there. She only lived there for a few years with her aunt. Apparently, as a teenager, she was, a wild child, and her mom couldn't handle it, I guess, or anyhow. So she went to stay with her aunt in Mahia, and that's kind of where her story started, and that's what she stuck with. And as we learn through her story, she did make up a lot about her life, and a lot of it was just to draw attention to herself. Sad stories sell.
Well, let's swing it back. Let's head to Texas for a bit because there's a little bit
Okay.
of information we can talk about, including where she meets her first husband, this
Hmm.
adoring, beautiful man. Um,
Oh,
but the
Daniel looks just like him, doesn't he?
right, no, does he?
Oh, I
Does he?
think
Did it
so. Maybe the
really?
eyes. Yeah. If you look at
Mate,
pictures of him.
my gosh, I mean, hold on. That to me, Daniel, the son, looks way better.
Well, yes, he does. Better haircut, of
Right,
course.
better haircut is true. Okay, hold on. Oops. Mike,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Dang, dang,
Yeah.
dang, dang,
Mhm.
dang. Ten and I watched two separate podcasts, and they each told some like oddly different stories, right?
Mhm.
Wow. And you were kind of saying that too. Like I learned this and I learned this from the second one that
Yeah.
nobody even talked about in the first one, which was
And
interesting.
the other interesting thing is they interviewed her mom in the second one that we watched. And her mom was not in the Netflix documentary at
They
all.
they had because I just rewatched it before, like skimmed through it, and they had her voice. They had her
Oh,
voice in
okay.
the beginning, which I didn't remember until I went back,
Yeah,
to
I
be
don't
honest.
remember that. But
Right,
I don't remember her being, on camera at all.
right. So she, from what I know, she heads off. She's in Houston with her mom. Her mom's a
Mhm.
police officer, and
Yes.
then she doesn't really know what to do with Vicky, and
Mhm.
so sends Vicky to her aunt's house,
Yes.
and she drops out of school. And this is where, am I right on this? That she works at the chicken place and meets Billy Wayne Smith.
Yes, he was a
Okay,
fry cook.
okay. And allegedly, he didn't show any interest in her or something about giving her a ride home. This is what
Mhm.
mom said.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I gotta have him if he's not gonna see
Yeah.
me the way I want to be seen."
Yeah. She liked that attention.
I guess, right?
Mm.
So they have Daniel.
So she started working a strip club, and she just became obsessed with her looks, and ended up getting a boob job where she had so much back pain that she started taking pain pills. And that is what I believe through my research the started and kind of touched on in the documentary as well, but that is what started her addiction to drugs. Is she just had these back problems from her being top heavy, which I could only
You
imagine.
remember the story where Anna Nicole Smith's mom? This is from the latest, the second documentary.
Yeah.
She comes in and says, she comes into the strip joint,
Oh
and she
yeah.
and she says, "You got 5 minutes to get my daughter off stage, or
Yes.
or I'm gonna
Cause
make her."
problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I guess her mom was a sheriff.
She says, you've got 5 minutes to take my daughter off that stage. I don't want her doing this. I'm going to cause problems if you don't. So they do. They escort her. They say, okay, ma'am, well, if you can come to the back, and they didn't want to cause a scene. Um, and then kind of after that, she just pretty much said, I guess I didn't realize that this was my daughter had found her calling, that this is what she wanted to do. And once she set her mind at something, there was no stopping it. So I couldn't do it. And basically, she just kind of had to, she
Right,
resigned herself to, okay, well, this is her life.
right, right.
So at the strip club is where she met J. Marshall Howard. I'm sorry, J. Howard Marshall. I looked at that wrong. He, by all accounts, was an oil tycoon, widowed billionaire. And he wanted to marry her right away. I think that he really adored her. I think he loved pretty things. Obviously, he was a man, and just the sex appeal, blah blah blah. He wanted her. He had to have her. But I do think that he cared, and he took care of her from what my research and all that. Um, and I think that she felt like that attention was something that she hadn't received before from a man, and just someone that was really looking after her and wanting to take care of her, not just use her. So I think that's kind of what really, you know, I don't know. You can say it's she was with him with the money for the money. But who knows what's in a person's heart, right?
And now that I think about it, it's probably the father figure she never had too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So somebody that just
Mhm.
cares about her enough to,
But she did say, I thought this was very interesting, that she didn't want to marry him right away because she wanted to make a name for herself. She didn't want people to think she was a gold digger. She wanted to make her own money, which she ended up doing. She got on the cover of Playboy magazine. She was noticed by guests and ended up being a model. And that second documentary that I watched, it says in that first year she made $22 million, and I was really impressed with it. So that was back in the early 90s.
yeah, yeah. I guess that was with Guess and Playboy
Yes,
is
with
what. Yep,
Guess and
yep.
Playboy. Yes,
I don't
right.
know if you've ever seen the movie Poltergeist 2, but the guy literally looks like the evil man from Poltergeist 2.
Oh
I sh-
gosh.
I might even look that up just because
Bless
because
his heart.
I know, right?
He looks like he's got one foot in the grave right there.
Gosh, he sure
My
does.
gosh.
Here he comes. All right,
Okay.
now let's. And for all the people that are not watching on YouTube, if you're for all the 4 people that watch this or listen to this podcast, and the 10 that watch it on YouTube,
Oh my
get
goodness.
ready. Get ready. Tana, look at him now. All right.
Okay.
This
Yes.
is Jay Howard. Ta-da-da! Right?
Oh,
Pretty
yeah,
close.
I can see it. I can see it. Yep.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
hope that was worth it. It really wasn't,
Yes.
but I tried.
Wow, bless
Oh
his heart.
gosh. I tried to make a list of like the 10 most influential people in her life.
Mhm.
I was kind of throwing that together real quick. I got Virgie Mae Hogan, which is Nicole's mom.
Mhm.
Billy Wayne Smith, the first husband, which
Mhm.
we saw his good looking mug here.
Mhm.
So right now, Nicole, I could pick up Nicole based on these 2 guys, right? If I had $1 million, maybe, maybe,
Maybe.
maybe. Um, I was gonna go into Missy Byram, the
Mhm.
woman who's kind of the younger woman who's or her friend and lover that's focused in the first documentary. Do you remember her?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. In fact, it wasn't one of the documentaries. It might have been an article, or it might have been the article in People magazine, in
Mm,
fact. But Missy claims that she and Anna Nicole had a commitment ceremony and that they were married. I guess maybe before gay marriage was legal. But
right.
she claims to be one of Anna Nicole's spouses. I think they
Missy.
worked
Here,
together at the strip club, and that's how they met.
so that's her on the right. Obviously not back then, but today.
Hmm.
Obviously. So that's one of the pictures I could find on her. So,
Sure.
yeah, yeah, look her up on People. Again, our information is mostly coming from the Anna Nicole Smith documentary. It's called "You Don't Know Me," and
Hmm.
Anna Nicole Smith, "The Last 24 Hours," which is interesting too. And I think both did probably a lot of things added for suspense and everything else. It felt
Hmm.
like too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Jay Howard Marshall and Daniel Smith round out the top 5. So
Hmm.
we've kind of been talking about Jay Howard. You want to? I feel like you had a little connection. Is there any more you want to say about Jay Howard?
Um, Only if we go into my personal connection.
Yeah, well, you could do that too if you want. It's up to you.
I mean, it's like 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon's story, but
Sure, sure. Why
my
not?
hairdresser, Tiffany Smith, here in Myrtle Beach. Hi, Tiffany. She was cutting my hair. And of course, I'm telling her about doing this podcast and that we're starting with Anna Nicole Smith. And she's like, oh, wait. She said, I know her, or I met her. So basically, what had happened was Anna Nicole Smith was dating Ben Thompson. He's a developer here in Myrtle Beach. And his daughter, Gina, is also a hairdresser. I guess for whatever reason, she didn't want to do Anna Nicole's hair and nails. So she called my hairdresser, Tiffany, and said, would you come to the house and do her hair and nails? So Tiffany's like, sure, why not? So she went on several different occasions. She'd do her hair, she'd do her nails. And one particular time, she was in a recliner and she had her nails her hands on each armrest, and Tiffany was literally on the floor doing her nails, and so she had to get up and come to the other side. And the reason she was like this is she basically was out of it, is how Tiffany described her, probably on drugs.
Oh.
So she comes around to the other side to do her other hand, and Anna Nicole looks at her and says, "Where did the other girl go?" So
Oh my
she,
God.
but the other things that Tiffany did say, I thought were very sweet. So basically, as far as meeting Anna Nicole, what she said she was very sweet. She wasn't a diva, but that she was pretty out of it most of the time. That she wasn't completely there. And the thing about J. Howard Marshall is, Tiffany said that Anna Nicole actually carried with her, or had in her purse, a framed picture of him, and it had little stickers on it, kind of like an 80s teenager puts stickers all over their pictures. And she would pull it out of her bag and look at it with tears in her eyes. And from that, I think Tiffany and I were talking that it seems that she really did care about him, because this was years later. And um we talked about it, like, she probably really did care for him, and he cared for her, and that was probably the only true, caring relationship she ever had, because everybody just wanted something from her.
Right.
So,
Right. And you're right. This is actually the first person that wants to give
mhm,
to her, you know?
yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's a really good point. That
yeah. So just a very, very sad, tragic, shell of a woman. In fact, I was going to save this to the end, because looking at the whole big picture, and how to describe Anna Nicole Smith, according to her mom in the second documentary,
Mhm.
at the end, towards the very end, she said she was an empty shell, just being controlled by everyone.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. That's
very,
kind of
very sad.
very true. Yeah. So I have number 6 on persons of interest in Anna Nicole's life is Donald Eugene Hogan. Do you know who that
Mhm.
is? Let's play a little trivia.
A
What Tana?
trivia.
Trivia.
Okay. I do remember that name. Where
You
are my
can't
notes?
Google it. You can't
Nope,
Google it.
I'm
It's
not
okay.
Googling.
It's okay if you don't remember, because if you'd have did this to me, I'd be like, I don't know who that guy is.
I That was her father. I was
Yes.
right. Yep.
Congratulations. I don't know why I picked this picture. This is not. Look at that. Looks like a mugshot. He kind of looks like Elvis a little bit with that hair too.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
according to her mom, wasn't he a convicted rapist?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both documentaries just say the second one just says it. The first one goes in depth and
Yes.
interviews the half brother who is
Mhm.
also his son.
Yes.
And there's even a rumor that he may have raped Anna Nicole
Mhm. Or
when they met.
tried, at
Right,
least.
right.
Yeah, which is, just so
Gross,
sick.
right?
Ugh.
Gross. So they
Yeah.
never knew each other, and she becomes famous.
Mhm.
And according to the first documentary, she says, come on, Dad, come visit. I'm
Yeah.
not telling you who I am, and then picks him up in a limo, and all of it's filmed in there. So if you haven't seen it, that's some good
Yeah, and
footage.
the whole thing about that, she loved being in the public, and she loved being the public eye. And I can't imagine at any point that she was declaring and proclaiming that she was going to, on this quest to find her father. Did anybody in her life, in her family, her mom, her aunt, the people who knew who he was, why didn't they try to stop her and tell her the truth?
Right, right.
Right?
She still had a relationship with her mom too. Her mom should have said,
Exactly.
"Don't go near him," but maybe she never told him. That's the only thing, and she was only telling the people in LA.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of, right?
I don't, or just the added attention. I don't know, but why would you want to drag that sort of? I don't know. I don't understand people.
I
So
don't either. So he comes and they head out to the Playboy Mansion. He meets Hugh Hefner. They all hang out. They party. Don't really know how it
weird.
ends, but it just ends out of nowhere. It looks like everything's going
Mhm.
fine, and then they disappear. So
Yeah.
um, 7, and then I've got a couple bullet points to bring up. We talked about the boob job. We really didn't talk about Did we talk about her infatuation with Marilyn Monroe or the movie career?
Not yet,
Okay.
but she was, and I think at one point, maybe it was the first documentary, she claimed to be, like, the reincarnated daughter of Marilyn Monroe, which I think
What?
is strange. Why not Marilyn Monroe, not the daughter of Marilyn Monroe?
That's exactly why I'm laughing right now, 'cause that's so silly. I was
It's
I was reincarnated by the dog of Marilyn Monroe.
yeah.
The one that went outside and pooped next to to I don't know. What? She didn't even have a daughter. Well, how could you be
I
reincarnated
know.
as a daughter she didn't have? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I think she was kinda ditzy.
I guess. Well, she didn't even know what Guess Jeans was at
I
the
know,
time.
she didn't, and she
Yeah.
called Playboy magazine classy, which
Well, it
I
is,
thought was funny.
compared to Hustler, maybe
I
it is,
guess
right?
so. I wouldn't know. I don't
Uh,
read those magazines,
Well,
but
here's something interesting that I didn't catch the first time I watched. We're talking about the movie career. The first time I watched the documentary, she's on the phone and she's telling her agent that she's offered the role of the main character in the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey.
oh, yeah.
Whose breakout performance is in The Mask? Do you know? That's Cameron Diaz's breakout role
Oh,
would
yeah,
have
yeah,
gone
yeah,
to
yeah,
Anna
yeah.
Nicole Smith.
Yes.
So but she was only
Wow.
offered $50,000 for that? I wonder what Cameron made,
I
you know?
I mean, it was worth it to have it be her breakout role, right?
Right, right, absolutely. But it could have been Anna, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Probably not. Probably she
Maybe
didn't have
not.
the chops.
I don't think
Mm,
she did. I
mm,
don't think she did.
I don't think she did either. Not likable enough in that sense. Anna realized what she could do, and she did that really well. And that,
Mhm.
you know what that was, Tana, is marrying beautiful men like this.
Yes.
Okay.
Being the trophy wife,
Yeah,
being pretty, and
I tell you, right?
I tell you, exactly.
I know. Just got to go find my so we talked about the movie career, we talked about her wonderful dad who did nothing but love her whole life.
Mm.
Um I've got number 7 on people of interest, Howard Stern, but not that Howard Stern, Tana.
That's right.
Howard K.
Howard
Stern,
K. Stern.
lawyer Howard K. Stern. You
Lawyer, friend, who knows what else.
There he is. That's a
Yeah.
great pose. I asked him I asked him to pose that way.
Yeah.
It's a
Very
weird picture. Why did I pick
respectable.
that picture? Oh,
Mm,
man. So, are you with me? We don't really know much about this guy at all,
we
right?
don't. I don't even know how she found him to be her lawyer. I mean, yeah, we never really picked that up in our research. Did
No.
you?
No, not
Yeah.
none of it. He's mentioned a ton, and he's
Mhm.
in a couple interviews, but
Oh,
really, like,
yeah.
somebody said, "Well, the only reason we knew who he was is because he was in our same building," and I don't even know who said that. I don't remember who
Mm.
said that. So, sorry, there's 4th of July fireworks going off, so,
Oh, wow. Hmm.
yeah.
Delayed.
Delayed, but he becomes a big part of, her life. Um, oh,
He
what?
does.
Right.
In fact, he basically is almost like not an assistant, but he's like he follows her around everywhere, even when she's with other men, which I thought was very strange.
Right,
Like
right,
she would, if I'm not mistaken, when she would come to Myrtle Beach to stay with Ben Thompson, who she just dated briefly, he would come with her and sleep in the other room. I mean, it was just bizarre. But I think that part of that was from what I can observe, he was partially responsible in supplying her drug habit. I think he
Ah.
was regulating that, just from what I've picked up on.
How did your associate, Mr. Thompson, meet her? Do you know that or
You
no?
know, I have no idea there.
Was it
No
on
idea.
Bumble? Was it on Bumble?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
I doubt it.
There wasn't Bumble. There wasn't Bumble back then.
Yeah, that was a
Oh,
while ago.
wouldn't that be interesting? Oh my gosh, Anna Nicole Smith. I'll slide right.
Yeah, right?
Ah,
Oh, goodness.
man, I know. So, Howard K. Stern becomes her attorney in the trial against, J. Howard Marshall's son for
Yes.
the money.
For the money.
What a money.
Yeah, they were only married like a little over a year when he died. And I'm guessing they probably had a prenup. But I think that that second documentary mentioned something about shortly after they got married, he signed over his power of attorney to his son, which I
Right.
thought if he wanted to take care of her, surely he would have made her comfortable. I'm
Well,
not,
well,
that's not the word I'm looking for.
yeah, right, right. What they should have just said, here you get a certain amount of money, and
Right.
this goes into a trust that somebody else manages for you, so you always
Sure.
have something, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I would think, but it doesn't
But
sound like that. It sounds
no.
like he gave her though over $14 million on estimate. That's her estimate.
Yeah.
So if you combine that with the money she made from Guess and Playboy, that's
Mhm.
$40 million, and you peed through $40 million.
Yeah, I
How do
don't.
you do that? And you remember the second documentary when mom's like, "You're gonna buy a pair of $5,000 shoes, and you should just go
Yes.
to Payless." And she's like,
Yes.
Mom, I rich people know the difference."
Yes. I thought that was so
Isn't that
s
cute?
just cute,
It
yes,
is cute.
of the mom.
It's cute.
She was
Oh,
serious as a heart attack.
right,
"You're
right.
gonna pay $5,000 for a
Yeah,
pair of shoes?"
right. You should go to Payless. Not like
Yeah.
maybe you should go to Macy's. You should go to
Right? No,
Payless. Like, let's go
Payless.
all the way back down here.
Yes.
No such
Oh
thing as a
gosh.
$300 pair of shoes. Oh gosh. Um, so
Oh.
Anna loses this trial. So Howard K. Stern doesn't do his job, even though he's a fantastic pose. He can pose really well
Mhm.
for pictures, as I took
Yeah,
from here. So she
very
gained some
strong.
weight. She gained
She
some weight.
did.
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
big. You remember how much weight she gained?
I think it was 70 pounds,
Yes,
but
70
I
pounds.
learned in that second documentary, she was 6 foot tall.
I know.
I don't think I knew that.
I
And
know.
and that's really tall, and, she was 150 pounds, which
Yep.
at 6 feet tall, that's not terrible,
It's not bad. No.
but to put on 70, it was in all the wrong places because she was yeah, that was when she was doing her reality show,
Yes,
right?
and she was on Howard Stern for a bit, and they're
Mhm.
betting how much she weighs as she's walking up, like,
Yeah,
terrible,
the
just
media just was awful to her. In fact, one quip I saw, the National Enquirer ran an article that said, "How dumb is Anna Nicole?"
oh,
I
wow.
mean, just mean, but that's the tabloids for you. So,
Yeah. Oh, poor th I still feel bad for her. I wish she was here because 'cause I'd give her a hug, even though she's
right?
not that smart,
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
do feel bad for her too.
Right.
Yeah. But she turned it around. She ended up being a spokesperson for Trim Spa.
That's where I
And
was going next.
she dropped the 70. Actually, she lost more than what she had gained, I believe. She did look a lot. I mean, she looked a lot better,
She looked
I
great.
will say.
She looked more like this Anna Nicole. I don't have any
Yes.
or even maybe this Anna Nicole.
Yeah, that looks
Um,
like after.
right. And I don't
Yeah.
have any pictures of her, obese. I don't know. I just didn't do it. So
Oh, yeah. It was just imagine just being plumper,
yeah, it's like this, only bigger.
only
That's her.
bigger.
That's her. So there's a man called, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Maurice Breithaupt, otherwise
Hmm.
known as
Oh, Big
Big
Mo.
Mo. That's right, Big Mo.
Mhm.
We're gonna get to
Aw,
Big Mo in a second here. Show you
yes.
what it looks like. Big Mo is kind of by her side all the time. He is
Mhm.
her right hand man,
Bodyguard.
bodyguard. Yeah, and get a picture of them in just a second. Have to take out my. There's Big Mo, and I don't know. This seems maybe as the pre first weight gain. Maybe I don't know.
Could be after,
Could be
because I feel like the after her face was more like this picture.
chiseled. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
Okay.
that's after.
What would you consider those breasts? Chiseled?
I don't know. But I wanna say when we were watching the second documentary,
Mm,
it was like something like a 42 double D or maybe that's not even right.
Gosh.
But I mean, I just can't imagine.
She's pretty skinny at that point too. If she's 6
She
feet
is.
tall, Big Mo is like 6'3". He's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Big dude.
Mhm. Yeah.
Big dude. Um, so Big Mo's in the life, and then comes a big sway for Anna Nicole. Larry Burkhead.
Mhm.
Larry Burkhead.
Yeah, they meet at the Kentucky Derby in 2003.
I do have a picture with him, but you were also going to see her daughter as she looks today.
Yeah, and maybe him being a photographer, maybe she thought, she could control the images that were being published of her. Yeah, she lets him know. I mean, she wants to get pregnant, but
Yeah.
she also lets him know that she doesn't want him a part of the baby's life. Pretty much from the very beginning,
But
which I just
he still ends up fighting it. Maybe he wanted the money. Maybe he really had second thoughts on being a dad. I don't know.
yeah, who
So
knows?
I don't know.
Either
Uh,
way, he ended up being a dad anyway.
right. Yeah, he had to. He had
He
to be,
had to,
right?
yeah.
He had to be. So the second documentary talks about a very interesting moment for Big Mo and her.
Mhm.
About 7 months before her death, I think shortly after the death or the birth of her baby, Anna Nicole nearly drowns. Do you remember that in the second documentary?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do, and he jumps in and saves her,
right,
and he doesn't know if it was accidental or if she did that on purpose.
right. Is this oh shoot,
Mhm.
I don't remember if this is after Daniel's death or before
I think it
Daniel's
was
death.
before.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you remember how close Daniel Lynn and Daniel's death are? Because I don't.
I think it was 2 or 3 days.
That's what I thought too. Okay.
Yeah, it was
All right.
only a few days.
So Daniel is the son who she had with her first husband, and here he is, all grown up right before his death. He dies at 20, and
Mm,
Anna Nicole heads to the Bahamas because she's just trying to get away from everybody, start fresh, have this baby,
mhm.
and also Howard K. Stern can be labeled as the father. Whoever signs the birth certificate is considered the father. So they want to
Yes.
make sure Daniel Stern is that father. Howard Stern,
Howard
sorry.
Stern.
Yes.
And, somewhere along the way in that second documentary, it showed that her and Howard K. Stern did some sort of commitment ceremony as well. And they were on a boat and she was in a wedding dress and they jumped off of the boat into the water. It was
Um,
kind of bizarre.
it was bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder what that means. What does that mean? Do
I
people
don't
do
know.
that? Is
I
that I've never
don't
seen
know.
that before.
Me neither. I think that the comment was it just kind of shows just how out of it she was or just
Hmm.
how, far gone she was. I don't know. I don't
You know
know.
what? And that probably also represents that he will follow her anywhere.
He was. He was like
Wow.
this lost puppy dog. Like I said, he did. He followed her everywhere, even when she was with other men, and he
Yeah.
claimed paternity of the baby, when obviously he wasn't.
Right.
But just very strange relationship. I think that, in my opinion, he probably stuck around for the money. Just that she was that he. Well, I don't know, but I think, like I said before, he was definitely part of that. Supplying of the drugs for her and regulating that.
Ah, what a silly man. Silly man.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
we are in the Bahamas, and she has Daniel Lynn, her baby, which this is her grown up and
Aw.
fairly
Mhm.
recent. There's a lot of Anna Nicole
Yes.
in her, um, a lot of Mr. Larry Burkhead in, you can see them both.
Mhm. You
So,
can. Mhm.
um, so she is born, and Daniel Smith, her son, comes out to visit, and tragedy
Mhm.
occurs.
Yeah. He was on antidepressants. There was also some methadone found in his system, which I think that she had been taking that as well. In fact, the first documentary mentioned that she was really concerned about getting this methadone while she was in the Bahamas because of the way their pharmacies are, or how she was going to be able to get this. And it's like they shipped it from the U.S. and yeah, that's a powerful drug apparently.
Right. Right. Yeah. Just how crazy. What's the chances? Like what's the chances you have a baby and your 20-year-old son dies
Yeah,
with you
so
3 days
tragic.
later or whatever it was. So close, like
Yeah,
from an ultimate high to getting the baby girl she wanted. And
yeah,
according to both documentaries, Anna wanted a baby girl.
yes, she
There was
did.
there was a mention in one documentary that she was buying chestfuls of baby clothes for girls,
Yes.
right? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do
Yeah,
remember that. Her mom was saying that. I thought
yeah.
that was strange.
Crazy, crazy.
Bless
Um,
her heart.
Bless her heart is right. So we've got Danielle's death, the birth of Daniel Lynn. And so now let's get into the death as we're approaching close to the hour mark.
Mm,
She has her baby girl. She has lost her
mhm,
son.
mhm.
She's going, which if we would have just watched one documentary, wouldn't have a clue on what she's doing in Florida, right?
No, wouldn't have a clue.
Wouldn't have a clue. So we
Mm-mm.
advise you, if you want to follow what we do because we're so cool, watch these two documentaries. One's on Netflix and one you can find on YouTube. Just YouTube, um, 24 hours. The last,
I think it's called The Final
yeah,
24.
of Anna Nicole Smith, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, so she's got this baby, couple months old. She's still just reeling over the death of her son. She's not really been out and about. She just holes up and doesn't go out, but she decides to buy a luxury yacht. So this is why she comes to Florida.
right. And she's staying at the Hard Rock Cafe, and she's got
Yes.
an entourage of people. She's got
Yeah.
a psychologist, I think. Am I saying psychiatrist, psychologist? I don't know the difference, to be honest.
One of the two.
One of the two. She's got Big
Mhm.
Mo. She's got Big Mo's wife, who is
Yes.
a nurse who
Mhm.
eventually just watches Anna Nicole die. Um,
Yes.
she doesn't do it
You
a
know, I
dang
thought that
thing.
part of that second documentary was so strange because if this woman is a trained nurse, I would think, and just to give our listeners a little bit of background. So
Mhm.
when she was checked into the Hard Rock, she wasn't feeling 100%. Like she had the flu, like
Right.
flu-like symptoms. She was running a fever. She ended up getting some kind of intestinal, like some stomach stuff going on.
Intestinal infection, possibly from a fall
Yes.
in the tub, is what they said. So,
Well, I don't know that the intestinal infection was from the fall in the tub. I think the fall in the tub, she hit her head, but
oh,
it wasn't enough
sorry.
to give her a concussion or to
Okay.
have like
I'm with
fatal,
right.
whatever. But she had these health things. So she was tired. She was not feeling well. So she was sleeping a lot. And the problem was because of all the mixture of prescription and illegal drugs she was taking, she was having trouble sleeping in the first place. She was taking this. It wasn't methadone. What is whatever that drug
Um,
is?
are you talking about the chlorohydrate or
Yes,
no?
chloride,
Chlorohydrate.
which ironically was the same drug that killed Marilyn
Marilyn Monroe.
Monroe.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
wow, right? But because of all of that, she was drinking just lethal doses of that basically. And she was basically slowly poisoning herself. And
Right.
so all of that being said, she's been in the hotel room for days. She's sleeping on and off, and so Mo has to leave for a while. So he asks his wife to look after her, and she comes in. And again, this is just according to the second documentary we watched, the final 24. And she just kind of sits there reading a magazine. She talks to Mo on the phone for a while. She doesn't go over and like check on her. Like
No.
I would think as a trained nurse, if I were going to just kind of keep an eye on someone who hasn't been feeling well, the
Right.
very first thing I would do when I walked in the room was go and check on her because in the documentary she's laying on her stomach and who knows how it really played out. But I would want to make sure she's getting enough air, she's breathing, that everything's okay.
Otherwise, why are you there? Why,
Exactly.
why are you there? And
Exactly.
somebody put in the comments underneath there, they're like, and she's probably on her iPad. Like there wasn't an iPad there, but it
Right.
was kind of
Yeah.
funny that,
Yeah, that was
if the, yeah,
too long
um,
ago.
too long ago. Right.
But I mean, so I guess part of me, I'm not blaming or criticizing or whatever, making judgments, but it just surprises me that a trained nurse wouldn't have checked on her sooner than she did.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're talking 2 in the afternoon when she finally
Yeah,
like, "Are you getting up?" Like, if she
right.
wasn't sick, I guess, like, what she's just sleeping, whatever.
Right.
I wouldn't
Right.
have checked, but she's had some issues throughout the
Yeah.
last couple days,
Oh, and the other thing I thought was crazy was the infection she had on her leg.
Mhm.
And it was oozing pus, and they said apparently it was probably from she had been injecting herself for years with human growth hormone
Yep,
and B vitamins.
yep.
I guess anything to look younger and feel good and to keep going and going and going. And so she must have gotten some sort of infection, and that actually caused some blood poisoning. So she had a lot of things going on. It wasn't just the drugs. There were some legitimate health things that were going on. The drugs definitely exacerbated it, but
She wouldn't
um,
she wouldn't go to the hospital
and she wouldn't go to the hospital
because
because of
she
the
did.
press.
Yes.
So, I mean, go figure, right? For a woman who loved the press and loved the media and loved the attention, at the very end, she refused to go. And honestly, as we do this show more and more, there's several other celebrities who have the same story that towards the end of their life, they just refused to go because of the press. And I just think, how sad is that? What kind of life? I mean, I just don't understand it, I guess.
You'd think you could go with a mask on, at least get through the door and check in.
Sunglasses, a
Yeah,
hat,
yeah,
anything, a
yeah.
wig. I
A
mean,
wig, yeah.
they're celebrity, they're
Right,
actors. They can
right,
they can
right.
disguise
Act,
themselves.
act. Right.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Ah,
I
I mean,
know.
all of this could have been avoided. I believe that all of this, I mean, if she had gotten to a hospital, I mean, if you have a temperature of 105,
Mhm.
that right there, I mean, I'm not really a hypochondriac, but I mean, I would be taking my butt to the hospital. I mean, right?
Yeah,
105 is really high to me. I
right.
mean,
I totally agree. I remember my son was sick with like 103-degree temp, and I was like, "Oh no, if Tylenol
yeah.
doesn't work in a couple minutes," and it did,
Yes.
luckily, we're going. So
Right. Yeah, you don't mess
Um,
with that.
no, you don't mess with that. No, not at any point with anybody, like get to the
Right.
hospital. You
Right.
don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
Let's see what let's mark her officially dead. I find it interesting on the final 24 of Anna Nicole Smith. They're like in 1 hour she's going to be dead.
Yeah.
Wait, she dead. She dead already. Like
Yeah.
you watch a documentary, they're like
Yeah.
pumping her on the bed and she has no pulse. She's not
Right.
breathing. In 1 hour, she will be dead.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah, and that's the other thing.
she's dead.
The nurse, the trained nurse is
Right.
trying to give her CPR in the bed, and the paramedics get there, and the commentary on the, documentary, they're like, which, by the way, doesn't work when you're on a bed. Wouldn't a trained nurse know this?
Well, whoever trained her should be fired. That's probably
Right.
what they should do.
Right.
Big Mo had to come in and throw her out.
Yeah.
I throw my girl away and I said,
Oh,
please, Nicole,
no, I
we all need
know. He
you.
called her baby
Yeah,
girl.
baby
So
girl, we need you.
sad. I mean,
So,
I'm not even a trained health professional, and I know that you would need to get somebody on the ground, like on a hard, flat surface, not on a bed, right? I mean,
I would have just learned that just now. I would have,
really?
yeah, but I've never
Well,
taken any type of CPR classes ever.
okay,
So,
I have. I've taken
right,
CPR, so,
okay.
but I don't know. I
That makes
guess,
sense now that you say it. Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Because, yeah. So,
Yeah, I know. It's so ridiculous. On the
yeah,
bed.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's so sad.
It is so sad. So she dies in Florida February 8th,
Mm,
2007, which is now a
yeah,
long time ago. It doesn't seem like that long time ago, but
yeah.
it sure is. Gosh,
Mhm.
15 years already. Tragic,
Yeah.
tragic, tragic. And there's a little bit of a fight between Howard K. Stern and her mama on where she should be buried. Mama says Texas. Howard K. Stern says with with her son in the Bahamas. That's where she wants to go. And how Arcade Stearns wins the one battle
Mm,
that Anna Nicole Smith asked him to win. It's
yeah.
where she's buried. So,
And that does make sense.
well, that's Anna. She's no longer with us, but she will never be forgotten.
You know, I think, I mean, as we've said many times, this just is a tragedy. I think deep down, Anna Nicole Smith just wanted to be liked and she wanted to be accepted and loved for who she was, which of course is what all of us want. But she just didn't have the best execution of all of that.
Yeah.
She was making choices that, felt she felt would get her ahead, and maybe they did, and maybe some of them didn't. I think her mom said it, in that second documentary, if when she put her mind to something, there was no stopping her. So you gotta admire somebody for doing that and making something of themselves.
No, absolutely. She absolutely wanted to be famous, and she was. And she climbed fast, and she fell fast, and she fell hard.
Yeah, she
And I
did.
think that's it too. And really, I think people in general only like you when they like you and they hate you when they don't. And that's a weird thing to say.
Hmm.
It probably doesn't make any sense, but
I
even
get it.
I had a friend who
Mhm.
was on Average Joe Hawaii. If anyone remembers that, it was a reality show in the mid 2000s, and he was getting into clubs, and he was like, people were recognize him and say, "Hey, David, da 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 da." And I was like, "Celebrity, I'm with a celebrity." And literally, he was off the show in no time, and then he was voted off, and then he couldn't get in those
Oh,
clubs. Everything, there was
oh,
literally 15 minutes of fame. So she had an
wow.
extension of that made her money, made her everything. And it
Mhm.
really, like, instead of like trying to turn everything that went, it was so negative how she got there. She used a lot of negative things and a lot of negative
Mhm.
people and there's a lot of negative. You almost sold your soul to the devil. And at that
Yeah.
point, you need to like say, okay, now I'm going to do the right choices. I'm on top. Now I need to stay
Mhm.
on top, and I need to stay on top for the right reasons. And instead,
Right.
she kept using negativity to keep
Yeah.
herself on top. And the devil went down to Georgia, and it'll take you with you.
Yeah.
So.
It will.
All right. Well, that was Anna Nicole Smith. And if you are listening to this still, thank you. Thank you very much for listening to our first podcast. It's been a lot of fun, Tana. I really do appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you get a chance, please check out two podcasts that are done. One is our sister podcast, Talk Murder to Me. It can be found on YouTube and anywhere podcasts are streamed. And also, my good friends Brad Ashton and Diego Garcia do a podcast called The Actor Factor. And they're 41 episodes deep, and they interview a lot of great talent and a lot of people you've heard of, some you haven't. And if you're a thriving wannabe actor, or thriving actor, check them out. It's very interesting. Thank you all again. My name is Brent Novak.
And I'm Tana Satterley. And do we want to give them our email to give
Yes,
us suggestions?
we do. Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's a good
Yay.
thing you're here. My email is Brent at dead-celebs.com.
And my email is Tana, that's TANA at dead-celebs.com.
Please let us know if there's anybody you want to see or have us dissect on their life and death of any celebrity.
Yes.
We'll take any emails. So thanks again
Please
for
do.
listening, and we're out. For a legal disclaimer, please visit www.dead-celebs.com.